Christians claim that there are many types or shadows in the Old Testament that prefigure Jesus Christ. We've seen Noah's Ark and Moses, just to mention a few. But how does Joseph fit as a type of Jesus Christ? The Witness has this to say.
Joseph stands as one of the clearest pictures of Christ in the Old Testament, and in a number of ways. Now, one, Joseph was the beloved of the Father. He was among the youngest, and his father's, loved one.
He loved him more than the others.
Almost more than the rest. And it is said of that this is why his brothers hated him. But you come to that.
Okay.
When you come to Jesus, God said about Jesus, "This is my beloved son," in Matthew 3:15 and other texts in the Bible. So Jesus is beloved just like Joseph was beloved. Now, second, Joseph's brothers did not believe in him, and they hated him. They did not believe when he said, "I dreamed that I'll be king over you." You see? And they hated him instead. Did the Jews believe in Jesus Christ? Not at all. They actually crucified him because they didn't believe in him. And it is also said that they didn't even receive him when he was born and as he grew up as a teacher and as the Messiah. Joseph's brothers rejected his right to rule. You say you'll be ruler over us, it cannot happen. When Jesus came, the Jews did not want to hear that he will be king. He is the Messiah. They actually accused him of blasphemy.
Yeah.
When anything ended like he is claiming to be the king, the Messiah, the Christ, they got furious.
They knew he was a carpenter's son, things like this.
That is what they said.
Yeah.
Joseph's brothers again conspired against him, just like they did with Jesus. In Matthew 27, it says, a council sat together to plan how they were going to get rid of him. Just like the sons of Jacob sat together and said, "Here the dreamer comes, let's do away with him." See, several similarities, and I'll tell you more. Joseph was sold for silver to the traders by his brothers. Jesus is betrayed by Judas, and Judas receives 30 pieces of silver. Another similarity. Joseph's own brothers did not recognize him when they went to Egypt. They were seeing, this Egyptian ruler. And they called him so. The man of the land, the leader of the land. Joseph knew them. When it comes to Jesus, the Jews did not recognize him. He came, John 1:12 says, he came to those that were his, but they never received him, they never recognized him. Another similarity. Joseph was tempted and did not sin by Potiphar's wife. "Come, sleep with me," but he ran away. It is said in the Gospels that Jesus was tempted in every way as we are tempted today, but without sin.
He never sinned.
Another very good similarity. Now, Joseph was condemned with two criminals. After this case with Potiphar's wife, and the case was moved around and around, and he found himself in jail, he was jailed with two prisoners. And actually who became sort of his comrades in prison, in jail. Now, what happened to Jesus? He was crucified with two criminals. One on his right, one on his left. Now, one more similarity is that one criminal was given life during Joseph's time. One was released and even actually was given his job back. But the other one, he was condemned, he was killed. Now, what happens to the two that were crucified with Jesus Christ? One actually repented before Jesus, and Jesus says, "Today you will be with me in paradise." The other one, we don't know his case, but of course he died a sinner.
He
He died a sinner. So he died a condemned person. Another similarity. Joseph's brothers bowed their knees before him when lastly, and even before they noticed was their brother, he was king. So they bowed and bowed, and this was a dream come true. The prophecy had been fulfilled, his dreams were fulfilled. Now my brothers are bowing down before me. They're worshiping me. Now, what does it say about Jesus Christ? Well, today not everybody is worshiping him. But in Philippians 2:10, it says, every knee shall bow and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is King. Now, this is another prophecy. They rejected him, that is in the case of Joseph, and later bowed before him. We reject Jesus today. Time is coming when we say he is Lord, he is King. Every knee, even those who are rejecting him today. And now the last of the similarity is that Joseph's brothers later repented for what they did. They even actually knelt before him saying, don't avenge what we did to us and our families. And Joseph says, no, I don't have to do that. You meant it for bad, but God meant it for good so that I can save you. Now what happens to Jesus Christ? The Bible says in Zechariah 12:10, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn. Now, that time is coming when Jesus comes down as king. And people, those who pierced him and rejected him, see him coming in glory, and they mourn at his coming. Because sort of we should have accepted him. Yeah. So you see all these similarities tell and show very clearly that Joseph was a type of Jesus Christ. And many years, yes, but later almost everything that happened to Joseph is fulfilled in Jesus Christ in more detail now than ever before.
Now you have, it's quite interesting that you have mentioned quite a good number of similarities between Joseph and Jesus.
Yes.
Now, amongst these similarities, which one do you consider to be the most important, or the one that we should maybe lift high more than the others?
I'm glad you're asking that. And I think the most important thing, and we see this in the whole story, is that God permitted the suffering of Joseph so that he would save his family through Joseph. Now, what has God done to Jesus? He has permitted his suffering. It says in Isaiah 53 that it was the Lord's will to crush him. It was his will to make him suffer and give him as a sin offering, so that those he came to save can be saved through his death, through his suffering. So God permitted the suffering of both so that we would be saved, so that we'll be free, so that we'll be helped out of our slavery for sin, especially Christ himself. That is what he came to do.
I to be honest, I knew a little bit about Joseph in the Bible.
Okay.
And also about Jesus Christ. But I did not know whether there are a lot of similarities between the two.
Of course, there's a lot more you should have said, and I guess you can read the story itself from Genesis chapter 37 and following. You get the full details, and with this in mind, you get a clearer picture.